What is Rotary? We're a network of people like you. In fact, we're the original social network. More than 1 million of us live just about everywhere you can think of. And we mean everywhere. We get together to exchange ideas, grow our businesses, and make new friends. We volunteer to help our own communities or someone else's. We're right around the corner. Come join us. The name is Rotary. Rotary International.
The sheriff, Keith Stone, he's been sheriff since 2014. Before that, he was a career highway patrolman, retired from the highway patrol. Well known in the community. He's been a great sheriff, speaking as a county manager. He's really modernizing the sheriff's office. He's getting a lot of grants. He's getting a lot of forfeiture money from the state and federal government, which helps with his efforts to modernize that office. And while I can't say that the commissioners give him everything he wants, he gets about 99% of everything he wants. So at this time, I will introduce Sheriff Keith Stone.
Thank you. 1 minute before I start, this is National Law Enforcement Week, Peace Officer Memorial. I want to take a brief moment, a moment of silence in remembrance of those officers that gave all. It's happening too often across America today, and what our guys and girls do every day, but I want to take just a second and think about those in memorial. Thank you. Next thing, I know Clee's got another engagement. Thought it was important for him to come over today because the only thing that separates us from Edgecombe County is those railroad tracks. And the commitment that we do on drugs and opioids over here and working the criminal element is no good unless my partner across the tracks over here helps out. Cleax, if you would stand, please. He was my shift partner for 14 years in Edgecombe County. Had the same days off, and just me and him patrolled Edgecombe County for 14 years. So he knows me better than my wife knows me. I know him better than his family knows him, so we'll keep it at that. But I can tell you, he's a man that Edgecombe County better be proud of. He's committed, and I'm very proud of it. I know we're going to do good things together. A couple of hot topics. I'm not going to hold you up too long because I know you need to get back to work and make Nash County where business meets opportunity. But the main topics that's going on right now, we'll talk about the jail population, where we're at in that. I'm sure some of you want to talk briefly about Gold Rock and the opioid crisis that's going on across America. And it's no more here. I get beat up a lot of times. The state and the federal government, we're throwing a lot at the opioid heroin problems that's going on out here. In New York alone, between 2010 and 2016, it has risen 127% in deaths. So that's the reason we're putting more commitment to it. I just added 2 more narcotic officers today to combat the opioid problem. In a business, I've got a master's degree in business, and I look at it as running this office of business. What is your number one problem right now? And if anyone can't say that it's not the opioid problem, then we're really turning a blind eye to what's going on. So our office has more people dedicated to working narcotics than any other county east of Raleigh. And I think that's a very compliment to my guys and girls that's working every day. And with that comes a higher jail population. And sometimes I get offered the question, well, you can't lock these people away. I agree. When you're dealing marijuana and when you're dealing lesser problems, moonshine was the problems back in the day, that might be the case. But if you're out here today, we're doing a pickup in Rocky Mount with 20, and I can put it out there now because we've already picked up most of them. we're doing a drug roundup today. 20 individuals, 13 of them for selling heroin. That was unheard of 10 years ago. You would have picked up 20 and none of them would have been for heroin. And look at the deaths that's associated with it. 72% increase in heroin deaths between 2014 and 2016. That's what we've got going on today. 33,000 lives lost last year in America. You know, wars won't killing this many people. That's not talking about the number of homes that's destroyed. And these people are not people of any characteristic. They can be your wife to go to the hospital and get surgery. I had hand surgery last week. And you get pain medication. My philosophy was, my wife said, you might need to take one of those to get ahead of the pain. I'll hurt before I take it. Because I'm telling you, I see what detriment it's doing to America today. And a lot of it comes from the medical field and the medical side. But another large part of it comes from recreational drugs and recreational drinking and youth today. A lot of it's put back on the hospitals of giving out too much medication. But I would be ventured to say, out of the 230 people in jail today, probably about 70% of them, there's some type of drug addiction and other parts mental illness, and then you've probably got 10 to 15% that come from meanness. But with this opioid crisis, a lot of it starts not with your hospitals. It starts with the streets. As I said, today we're picking up 13 for dealing heroin. This stuff affects everybody and everything, and the reason that we're doing that is these people, you can't keep putting them into the community because actually what they're doing is dealing death. That's one of the things that we're doing, but we're committed to that. I know people ask, well, why is it different here? It's not really different here. We're just working it harder, and we're making a difference with it. In Nash County, we've not had a murder this year. We had 2 last year and none the year before. I think that's a testament to where you live at. You know, 2 murders in the last 3 years isn't bad. And look at your population. Our clearance rate is among the highest. We have no unsolved murders. I think that's a testament to what our guys and girls do every day. As far as Gold Rock, I'm sure some of you are going to ask, we're proceeding with the nuisance and abatement on these hotels and stuff, and I've been asked, well, really, what's the problem with it? Would you feel comfortable if any of your family members went up there and spent the night? You know, you don't want them spending the night there. Well, then why do we want that as the face of Nash County? Because if you're coming from the north, the first thing you see is Gold Rock. And that sets the standard for where we're at. And that's the reason our office is committed to that. And I thank the people that are standing behind me in working and making a change in that. And we are making progress in it. We're going to do it. It just takes time, and the court systems are slow and things of that nature, but we're committed to it, and we're working it every day to make that difference. The jail population, I know Robbie keeps up with that and Z keeps up with it. And I do too. We've got 230 in jail now. That fluctuates. We'll have 20 more today, so we'll be around 260. But usually about the highest we'll ever get is around 300. So we're at about an average number that's for Nash County at this time. So that's kind of where we're at on that. But I want to take this time to go around and let you ask me questions, because I can stand up here all day long and talk to you, and then your questions aren't answered. And a lot of times a politician might get up here and tell you everything, but don't give you the opportunity to ask a question. So as your sheriff, I want to take questions from y'all, and let me see if I can answer some unanswered questions that y'all have. Yes, sir.
When is the opportunity to get a chain gang going again? I mean, instead of watching TV and eating and having a good time in jail, why not put them out on the road and clean up the roadsides and let them do a little work? Maybe they discourage them a little bit.
Funny you say that. Our trustees this morning, our Chief Bayshore, who is doing a great program with the HOPE program, if any of you know the HOPE initiative, and they're doing a drive right now for donations. And if any of you want to do something positive, make donations to this HOPE initiative. It gives people opportunities to go off and get help that would not get it in the opiate and the heroin arena, if not. But talked to him this morning. I said, how was the festival that we had, the Blooming Festival. He said it was real good, and he said it was actually cleaner this time than it had been. The trash went out there and everything. I said, well, that was good. He said, yeah, but the police officers told me at 6 o'clock this morning, your jail was out picking up that trash on Sunday morning and again this morning. We're using our trustees for that. If there's an area that is bad and it's got a lot of trash and stuff in it, we're sending our guys out to do that. But obviously, the program that you're talking about is through DOC of the convicted people and the ones that are in there for other crimes. You know, mine's my DWIs and my weekenders and the child support guys that aren't a risk to society. We are getting them out doing things. We've painted several buildings within the county. We did some stuff at the colleges. We're trying to use staff like that to work because a lot of these guys have good trades and are good at what they do. So let's utilize them instead of paying that money and keeping them in jail all the time. So we are doing that. Yes, ma'am.
What are some of the goals with Red Rock?
What's that?
What are the goals with Red Rock?
To have it as a face of North Carolina and Nash County without the criminal element in it. When you look at the calls for service, and not exaggerating that in a year, the paper is stacked over a foot tall in comparison to another hotel that may be at 64 or some other hotel where it's about an inch thick. We've got a demonstrated problem there we need to take care of. And it's just nuisance and abatement. If it's a problem, we want to rid the community of that criminal element. And it's coming from open air drug sales. One of the last bank robbers we got, that's where he fled back to hang out at. It's been a site of prostitution and things of that nature. We need to move that out of our community. And that's what it is. And you know, when you're not keeping up your health grades and things of that nature, it poses to be a problem.
What's the
Timeline with the first hotels and things of that, I would think there's no reason within a year if you don't start seeing progress. There's no procrastination in it, and our district attorney, Robert Evans, is on board 110% with me. My Superior Court judge is on board with me, Judge Sumner. So I think that we're moving in the right direction. Yes, sir.
You've got several hotels out there. You close up the worst offenders. Won't that just drive this element to the other hotels?
No, what I hope it'll do is just drive them across that county line. How is that? That's called progress for Nash County, and that's what I intend to do. Or if Clee was here, but they don't have many hotels over there, I'll push them over in Edgecombe County. But they're not going to stay in Nash County. They've got to go somewhere, but you're not going to stay here.
Keith, please point out that we have 3 up there doing a good job.
We do. We have 3 hotels that are doing a good job, and there's some businesses that are doing outstanding up there. But then with CSX coming here that I want to really partner with and ensure those business people that are coming here that we're going to provide a good, safe environment for their kids to go to school and for their homes to be built in and for the construction of it and all of the other small businesses that are attached to it. We can't have this. They can't be driving up to bring the family up and say, well, we're going to stay near where we're going to be at and pull over and stay in Gold Rock and see that. They're going to go the other way when they see this. And if you don't know, you don't know. Yes, sir.
What is the city doing to assist you in cleaning that up now?
They're providing me with the stats and the things of that nature, the records and the things of that nature to help us along with it.
And then that's all?
That's all we're getting at this time. And as I said, as long as I've got my superior, it is in the city limits. And as long as I got the Superior Court judge and my district attorney and the people in Nash County behind me, I can do it. Yes, sir.
How do you get your message out to the schools on this issue?
With?
So how do you communicate to the kids in the schools what's going on so they know they should not do this kind of thing?
Oh, we're one of the only offices that is left that's doing the DARE program. Most police departments, and I don't know another one in this region that is doing the DARE program, the drug awareness program. We have officers in the school resource officers that talk to them, and also we have the DARE program. And it takes more than that. It takes the community to get behind it again. Our churches and our community outreaches, they've got to step up and educate the kids on it. You know, 2 more weeks we're going to be out for summer. Parents are working at that time. Kids are home idle, and, you know, obviously idle hands are the hands of the devil, and you need parenting. And that's the parents' responsibility to sit there and do it. We do it to a point, but, you know, they're only in school 6-7 hours a day, but they should be at home the rest of the time. But you got to monitor your kids. I know we got a few more questions. Yes, sir.
Just an observation. Because when y'all do a good job, because of this revolving door thing, you only have to end up doing it again next week or next year.
Well, we've got a new partnership that we're really working with. It's the federal government. And our new U.S. attorney has committed that these offenders of dealing heroin have the same thought process that I do, that they're dealing death. And we've got 2 members on the DEA task force, which is huge. They're assigned to the federal DEA, and we take the problem, if you want to call them problem people, and we carry them federal. And in 120 days, you're sentenced, convicted, and sent off, and you're going to pull about 95% of your sentencing. That takes care of the problem. And we've been doing that for about the last 2 years, and it seems to be very successful.
Well, I was just going to suggest that maybe if we as Rotarians help a little bit, you might not have to do the job a second time, maybe 3 extra time. And there's a documented story, and it was used in a local Rotarian's speech. Names were omitted about 2 boys who were in prison out here in Nashville when he was a limited security place. Both of them for drugs. Due to some assistance from a Rotarian, both of them got out, turned their lives around. One of them is just retired from a job in the Pentagon. And anyway, the other, and he's still living, so his name couldn't be mentioned, but the other boy is now deceased and the family's moved away, so I think it'd be okay to mention the name. His name was Matt Hertzberg. The point is, though, because of some Rotary involvement, those are 2 jobs that y'all did not have to do the second time. And it's easy for us to sit here and talk about it, but we really, all of us ought to do something about it. In one of those cases, the boy had to live in the home of the Rotarian for a while till he got him. And of course, that's not a pleasant situation, but the point is, we need to not just talk about assistance, we need to do a little assisting when y'all want us to without interfering, so that you don't have to do it. So that the revolving door doesn't keep you from having to do the job over and over again.
Well, and also, be part of your community. Go to the court system and watch the court system, and ensure that your state courts are doing what they're supposed to be doing, because you're not an irate person or family member until it's your kid that's got an opioid problem, and you see the dealer go and stay gone for 30 days and he's back in your community. It's very disheartening. We just did an undercover operation a few months back and got 476 bricks, and it takes the mere end of an ink pen to addict you. The mere end of this. And it cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars to get you off of 476 bricks. We interdicted him coming back out of Pennsylvania or out of New Jersey. He makes a comment in a deposition to another drug dealer. I'll get it put off a couple of years and I'll spend a little while in prison, I'll be back out. But unbeknownst to him, we took him federal. In 120 days, he hadn't got out. And in 120 days, he'll be sentenced. And he'll probably be looking anywhere from 15 to 30 years. But that's the difference. Sincere. If you have a child and you tell the baby every day, well, I'm going to spank the baby when it does something wrong, or I'm going to discipline the baby, and you never do it, what does that child do? Or if you say, I'm going to get you next week or next month, and you just keep putting it off. So that's the problem. Just watch your court systems and ensure that they do what they're supposed to do. The laws are there, and their legislature's up there every day making new laws. We got enough laws. Just enforce the ones you got. Yes, ma'am.
This task force has been wonderful. Can you clarify which counties are involved or cities are involved in that?
I can. Nash County Sheriff's Office, Springcoat Police Department, Nashville Police Department, Wilson Police Department, Tarboro Police Department, Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office, the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, and that's who's involved in it.
And how important is it, the collaboration? How important is that in solving?
It's the only way that you can get anything done. If you just saw that the Rayfield Manning gang, or Rayfield Morgan gang that we just took down, for 25 years he had been dealing cocaine here. We got $500,000 cash out of his house and several kilos of cocaine. 25 years he's been doing that. But this task force with the DEA and Homeland Security and other operations and the State Bureau of Investigation, man, we put a stop to it. We put a dent in it. You're not going to go unnoticed when you have several different law enforcement officers working together.
Keith, you didn't mention, did I miss it, or you didn't mention Rocky Mount Police Department?
Rocky Mount Police Department is not involved.
Is there any reason why we're not doing that? The police department cooperating in the county, and you're getting cooperation from federal and from, of course, from the state?
That is correct.
Are we getting any additional cooperation, or is it something wrong that we can assist with to increase some involvement from our local police department in this too? Because the problem is here. I mean, it's all around us.
It is, and everybody needs to work together on that. I don't know what the agenda is with Rocky Mount. I've had some conversations before about it, but I have no what. But you know, you're a citizen of Rocky Mount. You live in Rocky Mount. It's your opportunity to find out that. But as far as if I call and ask for something, I do get it. Other criminal matters, we work together hand in hand. Their police officers provide me information and my narcotics, but as far as a daily operation, we don't have that.
So with the new sheriff in Edgecombe now, is that going to help collaborate with Rocky Mount?
It definitely is. As we said, we're picking up 20 individuals today, and Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office is in Nash County at this time working, picking up those guys. Yes, sir.
Could you address the gang situation in the Rocky Mount area?
As far as the gangs, there is a very significant number of gang members, but it's all over everywhere. And gangs, guns, and drugs, I run on that in 2014. If you take the drugs away from it, you're attacking the gang problem, because gangs is like business. If there's no return on the investment, nobody's out there doing it. And the two things that they prey on is, one, stolen property, whether it's a breaking and entering or a larceny or drugs. And we're doing this every day.
What are you able to do with the money that's confiscated?
We've seized, well, this year we're finally paying Z and Robbie back. We got the old library over in Nashville, and we bought that with drug asset forfeiture, and they were kind enough to loan us some money. We're $25,000 ahead and going to have it paid off ahead of time, but we'll probably pay it off in July. We're buying patrol cars. We're buying license plate readers, where on our interstate, our drug interdiction team, if you come through Nash County and you've been identified by a source of DEA or Homeland Security or New York Police Department as a wanted person or a drug person, when you go by this car, it takes the picture of that license plate and activates it to the officer so the officer knows. We brought license plate readers. We're putting technology into it. We've also running the using it to help fund a program to be able to do more technology work in the realm of cell phones, credit cards, and things of that nature. So without that, I do get 99% of what I ask, and I want to thank my commissioners, Democrat and Republicans, for what they did for me on that. But this asset forfeiture, there's no way that you could fund a progressive law enforcement agency without that. Z would have completely gray hair if we didn't have that. Yes, sir.
Just another question, when the medication people get in the hospital take home, maybe opioids or whatever you call it, and is there, I know there's a place to return that somewhere.
It is. You can come by our office and put it in a drop box. And yes, you can. Or you can call one of my Nash County deputies, and I don't care if you live in Nash County, Rocky Mount, or where you're at, we'll come by there, pick it up, and we'll do it for you. Now, don't get one pill at a time. Keep calling me back over there. Yes, sir.
So I know you just spoke recently about it being really expensive to get them off of some of the drugs they're addicted to.
The opioids.
Yeah. So do y'all have anything that you're currently providing inside of the facility when you got them coming in there and really addicted? Do you you have any type of?
There's nothing that you can do. It's the most horrendous withdrawals that you will ever have. It's like 15 times worse flu that you could ever have, and you just got to go through it. Some places have the clinics and things where they put you on methadone and things of that nature, and Suboxone, but we catch them out here today where they're selling Suboxone. We raided a home a couple of weeks ago, and the guy says, yeah, man, I need to get off this stuff. I know what I'm fixing to go through. He says, but you can go over to my mama's house. He said, and in the barn, I've got some Suboxone. So just if he couldn't get it, he could tide himself over until he could get some more heroin. There's one way to get off of it, and that's not to do it. And people aren't strong enough to do that. That is the most terrible drug there is. And now we've got a new thing out here, fentanyl. If it's laced with that, it's causing death. And now there's a new one, it's an elephant tranquilizer called carfentanil, and that's 10,000 times more potent. This stuff is out here. I just went down to the border last year and rode with the Texas Highway Patrol to see what was coming across our borders. You have crystal meth that's coming across here, and the reason for that is these states that have legalized marijuana in the United States, the cartels, there's over 200 of them operating on your borders. They're making business. They say, well, what can we do? We got to do something. We've got these fields growing marijuana in them. We've got these dry houses, these factories and things that are growing the marijuana. Well, now it's turned to opiates. They're growing poppy there, and they're using these labs as super labs. And just the week that I was there, you got hand grenades coming across the border. You've got crystal meth coming all the time. You've got cocaine by the truckload coming across. And that's the stuff that we're combating. People say, well, that don't affect us. Every bit of the heroin that comes here, every bit of the cocaine that comes here is not homegrown. It's transported here, and that's how it gets here.
Will the wall help?
What's that?
Will the wall help?
A paper sack will do better than nothing. I mean, we got to do something. And, you know, I asked the Border Patrol this, will it help? They said definitely. But then you're going to see this I-95 corridor that's going to light up again like the 1980s. They're going to start trying to come around it. And the Coast Guard's going to have to up theirs. You know, we've got to work on the problem here in America. We've got to do more towards mental health. We've got to do more awareness, as somebody asked a while ago. You know, we got one program in it. It needs to be preached from kindergarten all the way up. When we all come along, we talk about, well, if you drink a beer, your teeth's going to rot out, or something's bad going to happen to you. If you drink moonshine, what's that going to do for the older people in here? What's your parents tell you? What it was going to do to you? Well, you tried it and then nothing didn't happen. We've told them, yeah, you're going to go blind. Well, you've told them so many times and things didn't happen. Now when they try heroin, it really does happen. So that's kind of where we're at. We need some real FaceTime and real sincere talks, and parenting and the churches and the schools and the communities got to get behind this. And we've got to up our mental health. Yeah.
Keith, I think Attorney General Josh Stein is doing, really going after this opiate stuff. Seems like I saw your picture with him.
He is really working on this, and our governor just got named to the board of opiates for the nation. There's a lot of good things that's happening here. And we've just all got to be committed to doing what we got to do.
You might know that Robbie Morris here is doing a documentary, and he's working with Josh Stein right now. So
I think they did some ride-alongs with our guys and the things where the streets and the opioids come together. Any other?
Are they doing anything to, I know Darren's been around for a long time in the school system. Are they doing anything to not only do it in the school system, but take it out to some of our youth programs in the community? Educate our young people, because they're not educated, you know. If they're educated a little bit more on the harmful effects of it, and really see some eye-opening things instead of, you know, like the.
And we need more of that, and that's where I say your churches, your schools, invite us in to go talk. You know, I just can't walk in and do it. I do walk our dogs in quite often, and the kids love those dogs, except for the ones that might have something. But we need to have more interaction, and we're trying to do something with the Y this year when they start to do their summer programs. Let us come in and just give you a small piece of what's going on and talk about it.
We're bringing Boys and Girls Club.
Thank you. Anything that I can do, hey, I'm committed to it. I got 3 kids, And I can tell you, a 14-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 6-year-old, I'm committed to Nash County and I'm committed to kids because I know what a struggle it is out here. Yes, sir.
Change the question just a little bit about concealed weapons. Is there anything in the works to have these different states approve a concealed weapon from one state to the other?
It is.
Is there a list of these states?
There is, and you can go to www.doj.com and it shows the states that are in reciprocity with North Carolina, and it shows, but most of them are. The only places that really aren't, and I hate to say it, is the high crime areas. Chicago, New York, some of those areas where you're not supposed to have a gun, but it seems every criminal. Yeah, but mostly all down south and all out until you get towards California, and then that's another question too. I guess I just love southern United States. But there is, you can go to that website, www.doj.gov, I think it is, and it's got the list of who's there. And if you got to carry concealed, two things. With a kid, you've got an extra precaution to have, and I can't stress that enough. And the next thing is, it's like riding a bike. You need to practice with it to ensure safety, because the utmost thing with a weapon is safety. Any other questions? And he stood up, so that's time for me to hush. Thank you, and thank you for what y'all doing for Nash County.
What is Rotary? We're a network of people like you. In fact, we're the original social network. More than 1 million of us live just about everywhere you can think of. And we mean everywhere. We get together to exchange ideas, grow our businesses, and make new friends. We volunteer to help our own communities or someone else's. We're right around the corner. Come join us. The name is Rotary. Rotary International.